Okay guys, today I'm going to talk about how I bed in new disc brake pads. The pads that I'm replacing are Shimano pads, and Shimano's recommended procedure is that while you ride the bike, slow down to a walking speed at least 20 times. So basically you get the bike up to about 10 or 15 miles an hour, then just apply the brake and slow it down without stopping the bike and do it 20 times. You know, I've used that Shimano procedure quite a bit and had fairly good luck with it, but it's not foolproof. As a result, I developed my own procedure, and that is I take the bike to the top of about a half-mile hill, engage the brake, and hold it the whole way down. Once I get to the bottom, I let off the brake, and generally at that point, the brake pad is bedded in. So let's get into it in more detail. So I've already changed the brake pads on my bike, and just to show you, here are the pads I took off, and as you can see at the end of the orange arrow, I was already starting to rub against the metal. I let it go too far, but those are the old pads and the new pads are already in. Here's the bike where I'm just putting the caliper onto the disc, and as you can see, I'm using a long hex tool to get the caliper tightened up. And here I'm just showing the bike up on the stand. It's all ready to go. It's ready to be taken out and have the brakes bedded in. I now have the video on the front of my bike, the camera anyway, and I'm starting at the bottom of a hill, and I'm going to climb all the way up to the top. And I'm going to accelerate this until we get to the top. This acceleration makes things look a lot closer than they are. The traffic was really pretty slow, but moving at a fast pace. It looks pretty bad, but I'm just climbing up here from the bottom of a hill, about a half-mile up, and like I said, it's pretty heavily accelerated, but just trying to get to the top. Now, when you're going up there, it's very important not to touch that rear brake, which is where the new pads are. You just want to make sure that it's just riding along nicely and not been engaged at all. So here we go. We're getting to the top, and here we are. Okay, right here I'm at the very top, and what I'm doing, I'm starting down the hill, and right about here I'm lightly grabbing the rear brake. So this is the first time that those pads have touched that rotor, and I'm continuing to put a little pressure on the rear brake, and I'm pedaling the bike. Even though I'm going downhill, I'm still pedaling, and making sure that there's consistent contact between those new pads and that brake rotor. Because what you want to do, you want to get the brake dust from those new pads firmly embedded in on that rotor. And you want to get enough heat built up in there so that it conforms, burns a little bit on the pad, and also helps get the pad bedded in on that rotor. And the whole way through here, I've not let up on that brake at all. I'm continuing to move. You definitely do not want to come to a complete stop, and I don't like to let off the brake at all while I'm doing it. That was a little bit of a distraction there. That a pretty young lady walked by, but you still got to keep moving and keep the pressure on the lever so that you're getting the heat built up. Now here I'm rolling along, and I'm going to come to the intersection, and once again you just got to I'm slowing down for the intersection, obviously. But still moving. Is the most important thing at this point is to keep moving, and once you get going good, probably in the first about 500 yards, you should feel some pretty significant resistance where that rotor and that pad are starting to mate up, and there's you don't want to stop, but you feel like you could stop if you needed to. Also notice how there's no noise coming from the rotor and the pad. Sometimes initially you'll get a little noise. If it continues, certainly if you've gone this far into the process and you're getting a lot of noise, most likely you have contaminated the pad, and you're going to have to basically get some new pads. But at this point, I'm not hearing any noise. I'm pushing pretty hard, on the brake, so I can feel that it's biting in the back. But it has to be getting really hot, and I'm getting near the bottom of the hill. So at this point in the process, I've been, I've not got the lever really firm. But I'm holding it so I can definitely feel the undulations from that rotor as it's moving past those pads, and the resistance. Even though I'm holding it about the same, I can tell that the resistance seems to be kind of increasing as it's getting, as the brake's getting hotter and more of the pads getting in on the rotor. I'm just about at the bottom here, though. Still pedaling and pushing it through, and still not let up, and but clearly getting back to the bottom of the hill. And like I said, at this point, it should feel like if you needed to stop, you could grab it hard and stop it, but you don't want to do that. As a matter of fact, once I get to the very bottom, what I'm going to do is I'm going to completely let off of the brake, and then I'm just going to go ride the bike for a little while and let it all sort of cool down, and then I'll start applying the brake. And then after I've been riding it for a while, I will mash it hard. So at that point, I'm at the bottom of the hill. I'm completely let off of the lever, and the brake pad is bedded in.